Welcome back to Paul's Tech News. As the school year winds down and the summer plans start to heat up, it's a good time to stop for a moment, take a look around, and try to get a really firm imprint in your memory of what the world was like before AI took over. Because that looks to be the way the world is headed. AI was already elbowing in on our GPU hardware supply and our internet search results, and now it's learned to talk and see things and give us helpful reminders in our augmented reality glasses. Truly, the only bright spot in the murky tableau that is humanity's plight in 2024 is Steve from GamersNexus, who has once again directed his fire hose of truth and righteousness at a suitably reprobate retailer, media outlet, or manufacturer. Who was it this time? ASUS. Damn it, ASUS. What the hell? What did they do? Their RMA service sucks. Well, fire up the pitchforks, boys. It's time for tech news. Excellent! Today's video is brought to you by the Corsair K65 Plus wireless RGB keyboard, featuring silky smooth pre-lubricated Corsair MLX red mechanical switches, 2 layers of sound dampening for softened typing acoustics, AES encrypted connectivity via low latency 2.4 GHz wireless, Bluetooth or USB wired, a multi-purpose rotary dial with function key combos and shortcut commands, resilient PBT dye sublimated keycaps, and of course, per key RGB lighting effects, which are endlessly customizable in Corsair's IQ software. For more on the Corsair K65 Plus, click the sponsor link in the video description. ASUS issued a public apology on Wednesday for gaps in their RMA process after a GamersNexus video posted last weekend went viral. A video that, in typical GN fashion, exhaustively documented a litany of ASUS RMA service shenanigans, as experienced directly by GamersNexus, who returned an ROG Ally to have a defective thumbstick repaired, as well as many others who emailed or commented. The routine goes something like this. ASUS RMA department, after accepting the returned product, contacts the customer and says there's something wrong with the unit, and it's often completely unrelated to the RMA reason, like GN's Ally, which ASUS suddenly said needed a new screen and had liquid damage, which is an odd diagnosis for a faulty thumbstick. The ASUS RMA department then requires the customer to pay a repair fee, which can be hundreds or even thousands of dollars, as reported by one Redditor who returned a $2,800 ASUS RTX 4090, only to be quoted $3,758 to have it fixed and returned. If the repair fee is not paid, ASUS threatens to ship your unrepaired hardware back to you without even reassembling it. And there are plenty of commenters claiming ASUS required them to return things like daughter boards or other vital accessories, only to receive their bare product back with none of that included. Now, the ASUS PR statement is somewhat reassuring, I guess, although it uses the weakest and most roundabout language to avoid committing to anything or even admitting fault. For instance, they are enhancing their RMA process, not fixing something that's broken or even improving something inadequate. And they're not even really apologizing for screwing up. They are deeply apologizing to customers and the community for any confusion and frustration they might have experienced. As they say in the South here in the US, well, bless their heart. The previous RMA instructions must have just been too confusing for those poor customers, and now it will be spelled out in very small and easy to understand words why they're refusing to repair your product under warranty because there's a flea-sized nick in the housing. Several follow-up videos have been posted by other channels now, such as Louis Rossmann, and the consensus among fans seems to be that motherboard choices are pretty limited these days if you want to buy from a brand that's drama-free. All the big manufacturers have had anti-consumer black eyes in the past few years. But you know what? Now that ASUS has issued an apology, we should give them a chance to see how they can improve things, is what we all said last year after they were caught being similarly difficult with AM5 motherboard returns. But no, this time will be different. I can tell from this apology letter that they really mean it this time. By the way, this apology letter is for the US and Canada, and I do believe this RMA issue is a global problem. Hopefully we'll hear from other regions soon. Also, by the way, full disclosure, ASUS is a sponsor for my upcoming Computex coverage, which was set up well before this recent drama. I considered returning it, but an ASUS RMA didn't seem like the best idea right now. Speaking of the blood-stained trail of battered businesses GamersNexus has left in their wake, EK, the liquid cooling manufacturer, was hit with not one, but 2 exposés from GN 2 to 3 weeks ago, alleging mismanagement, missed paychecks, and even racism via company communication platforms, but CEO Edvard Koenig isn't ready to call it quits just yet. In another rare modern example of journalistic effort, KitGuru traveled to Slovenia, where senior editor Leo Waldock was able to wrangle a sit-down interview with EK's founder and namesake. The video is a half-hour long, and it's awkward and uncomfortable for much of that time, but credit to Leo for not sugarcoating anything and getting right to the point with the hard-hitting questions. And while I also credit Edvard for being willing to sit for an interview given the ongoing controversy, I'm not sure it was the best idea. Some subjects couldn't be discussed at all due to ongoing litigation, and for others it was clear that Edvard simply didn't have a good answer. Many of the alleged transgressions are quite serious, and simply claiming that they weren't reported, as Edvard did many times, isn't a satisfactory response from a CEO who should ultimately assume complete responsibility for the goings-on within their company. Their current plan appears to be to plow ahead with their Computex announcements, but it seems like they've got a lot of work still to do if they want to win back public trust and support. There was another AI battle this week as both Google and OpenAI presented new interactive chatbots that actually talk to you and interact with the environment. Google had dibs since their Google I/O Developers Conference has been planned for this week for some time, so we'll start with Project Astra, which they demoed running on a smartphone and also via smart glasses. The tester was able to ask Astra what it was seeing through the smartphone camera. It did some alliterative wordplay, identified and analyzed encryption coding, came up with a band name for a golden retriever, and even remembered where the tester's glasses were earlier in the clip.
Let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
I see a speaker, which makes sound.
What is that part of the speaker called?
That is the tweeter. It produces high-frequency sounds.
Give me a creative alliteration about these.
Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions.
Do you remember where you saw my glasses?
Your glasses were on the desk near a red apple.
Give me a band name for this duo.
Golden Stripes.
Nice. Thanks, Gemini.
All very impressive, but OpenAI had actually scooped Google the day before on Monday, when they revealed their new chatbot model, GPT-4o, that can also talk to you in real time and discuss stuff you're showing with your smartphone camera.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey there, it's going great. How about you? I see you're rocking an OpenAI hoodie. Nice choice. What's up with that ceiling about?
But OpenAI clearly invested some time making sure the voice had a certain lilt, a casual inflection, a certain talks like a human realness, with pauses and even a giggle here and there that just might make you start to feel like, hey, I think this chatbot might be into me.
In fact, we've got a new announcement to make.
That's exciting. Announcements are always a big deal. Judging by the setup, it looks like it's going to be quite the professional production.
Which is silly, right? I mean, it's just AI, some computer programming and machine learning and training and whatnot, but it's kind of crazy how little it takes to cross that bridge from a fairly detached text-based interaction, as has been the case with AI chatbots previously, to the reaction to GPT-4o's female voice, which I am admittedly basing primarily on popular YouTube comments, but I'm just gonna say it, there are now way more people who want to fuck AI.
That's exciting.
I mean, just listen to that singing voice.
In a room where modern lights peak,
Surprise guests with a playful streak.
bunny ears and laughter, a swift retreat.
A moment of joy in the stylish suite.
Would. And now, fast news, tech briefs. It's recently become clear that while NVIDIA is poised to launch new GPUs, AMD is not. Or maybe they are, but keep expectations low for GPUs based on the next-gen RDNA 4 architecture. If leaker WJM47196 on the Chip Hell forums is to be believed, RDNA 4 is more like a bug fix for current-gen RDNA 3 and won't boost performance all that much. That's sad news in the short term since those GPUs haven't even been announced, but the flip side is that RDNA 5 might be a completely new design, and that could give Radeon a fresh start in the same way that first-gen Ryzen did for CPUs back in 2016. Sounds like a good idea, but don't expect RDNA 5 GPUs until 2026 or late 2025 at the earliest. Speaking of Radeon GPUs, XFX has a few new models on offer, dubbed Phoenix Nirvana. They revealed a China-only RX 7900 XTX variant at the beginning of May, and now there are 7900 GRE and 7800 XT models available in white as well. They're overclocked and they're a bit pricier than base models, but what I found most interesting is just how huge they are. 34.6 centimeters or 13.6 inches long, 4-slot triple fan coolers which seem way overbuilt even for a 7900 XTX. You know what I think? I think XFX originally designed this cooler for AMD's supposedly cancelled RDNA 4 multi-chiplet GPU, which was rumored to feature between 13 and 20 chiplets and, on paper at least, could have outperformed the RTX 4090. But again, if rumors be true, that card was shelved so AMD could allocate their fab time to producing far more lucrative AI chips, and GPU progress and competition has slipped yet again, as many predicted, due to the continued impact of AI.
Me?
But enough about AI though. Let's finish with some alternative and happier subject matter like awesome cheap CPUs for gaming. Arguably the best CPU for gaming, actually, the 7800X3D, is on sale yet again, down to $345 or so, matching the lows it hit during pre-Christmas 2023. I even spotted an Amazon seller listing them for $278 earlier today, but that's gone now, so never mind. Now, if only GPU pricing was equally as aggressive. Finally, we close with the unprecedented news that Rockstar has further specified the launch date for GTA 6, fall 2025, bringing it into sharp focus versus the vague late 2025 timeframe that publisher Take-Two had previously disclosed. Finally, we can rest easy knowing that the most anticipated game launch of the decade won't take place after December 21st, because that's the first day of winter. Sometimes I do seasonal jokes. Anyway, of course, that will only be the beginning of the real wait for GTA 6 to launch on PC. I'm guessing that will be the most anticipated game launch of the next decade. Just trying to stay optimistic. But there you have it, guys. Tech news for the week, and if you liked it, click that like button or leave me a comment down below. While you're down there, all of the articles I talked about today are linked in the video's description if you're interested, and you can check out my store at paulshardware.net for high-quality merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, beer sets, and more. Subscribing to my channel is always a good call too. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next week.